Good afternoon and welcome to another exciting episode of Talking Sports. I am your host, Marvelous M.R. Richards, and today for all of us here in Antigua and Barbuda, the 7th of March is a very, very important and special day. Of course, it's the birthday of our only living national hero, Dr. Sir Isaac Vivian Richards. And we here at Talking Sports are wishing the great man himself blessed birthday greetings, and we are asking for the ancestors to continue to bless him, to witness many, many more with loved ones. And we certainly hope that he's having the kind of day that he wished for. Of course, today we'll be talking football, and I have two very special persons with me inside the studio. But before I get to them, we'd like to let you know that Talking Sport is made possible by ACB Caribbean, and they have been in banking for over 63 years and 43 years of sponsoring Antigua Parish League cricket. So we suggest for all your financial and banking needs, be sure to check them out. They are situated at the corner of St. Mary's and Thames Street, right here in St. John's. ACB Caribbean, our platinum sponsor, Simply Smarter Banking, and also Blue Mountain Water, known for the greatest taste in water and also the purest. And if you're looking for some and you're doing some sort of physical activity and wish to refresh yourself, you can check out Mega Distributors. They are situated on the American Road for all your Blue Mountain Water. Also Cecil Charles Group of Companies, Seco Pharmacy for all your medical needs. And their experienced pharmacist is dedicated to serving the healthcare needs of all their customers. And they are also situated right here on High Street. Also Hutchison Limited, the agents for Pine Hill Juices. So we say whatever your fruity flavor preference is, eat to sip and smile with Pine Hill Juices. And they are situated on the Factory Road. Also plumbing and electrical for great service and good deals. Everything plumbing and electrical, all at one stop. And they are situated on the Potter's Main Road. Also brands for less. You pay less for quality branded products. And they cater for men, women, and children. And they are situated right here also on High Street. And don't forget to check them out. When you do, you tell them we here at Talking Sports sent you. And of course, they will look after you in the way that you like them to. We'd also like to advise you that we are on Facebook at ACB Caribbean Parish League, and also on YouTube at Antigua Parish League, Instagram at Antigua Parish League, and we are coming live on CTV Channel 8 right here in Antigua. Our Zoom ID is 636-015-0303. I repeat that. 636-015-0303, and the password is a very simple one, 12345. That's 12345. And our WhatsApp number, you can call if you want to be a part of this program or send any sort of comment, is 776-2866. Now that we got that out of the way, let me welcome our two special guests. Their name have been mentioned in debates and discussion, arguments you can say, about their, what they did when they graced the field. Of course, they have contributed significantly to the development of the game football here in Antigua and Barbuda. They started off playing for their clubs, and they went on to play for the national team, and also went on from playing to the national team to coaching the national team. And they are now seeking to further serve. And it sort of sounds pretty close to Merv to serve, really. But they are looking to vie for some administrative position in the upcoming general elections for the Antigua and Barbuda Football Association. I want to welcome to Talking Sports, of course, Ivor Ninja Luke and Derek Pretty Boy Edwards. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Talking Sports.
Let me say welcome to you, man. But first, let me grace the President of the Almighty, to bring us here safely. And it will be remiss of me not to mention, blessed birthday to your brother for a second time. for the day.
Very good, very good.
It's a great man, our only living national hero, and it's a pleasure to still have him around, man.
Definitely, definitely. And we also want to just let everyone know, please, to like and share. When you get on Facebook and YouTube, you can just simply like and to share. Now let me start off first with Ivor, who is close to me here, right? I want you to take me back. I don't want to say many years ago, but I want you to take me back and sort of tell our viewers what a little Ivor loop was about. Perhaps you started playing your football in the Golden Grove, not Grove area, and tell us, how did it all started for you? When did you become interested in football?
Okay, good afternoon, Emma Shaba. Good afternoon. Firstly, I'd like to say a very happy birthday, 70th, to the great man, my teammate.
That's right.
Vivian Alexander. And I've had the privilege to play a few games with him in his heyday, defensive, central defense for Lion Hill. Pretty good player. So enjoy, teammate, colleague. Again, it's also a pleasure to have 3 former Lion Hill players here
Yeah.
on this platform, and 3 former champions also.
That's right.
On this platform. Hence, the Lion Hill shirt has to come out to represent.
Yeah.
Basically, as a youth playing, we idolize the men of the Lion Hill area. Peter Henry, Eustace, Stiffy Brooks, William Lewis, Ashby Lewis, started from the team entering Grace Green League and being successful over the years, being champions repeatedly, and they decided to form the team. We were just supporters, most of the youngsters. So we were behind the field in the practice, the goals, kicking the rock over the ball, till you are called over, till when they're sharp and they believe you look all right, they might call you over to fill up. Right. Next day they're full, you go back outside, till you reach a stage where you could manage and you could command a play on that side of the field. And that's how we really started for me, playing for Lion Hill. But I've never missed a game for Lion Hill the first 2 seasons, which is second, first division, and well, the rest I played. That's when we came to Premier Division first. So I've been playing for a long time. I had played for a long time.
What about you, pretty boy?
Well, basically, it's once you come up under that era, is the same thing, I
have my share.
Yes, I used to, idolize, Steadroy Challenge and Wacky and those guys, Narski and Iceup and so on. So it's the same regiment. We used to play behind the goal. You got to get that ball over quickly when you get out there, because sometimes if you don't get it over quickly and you play around, you'll get a cuff, And that was the regiment until you graduated to a particular standard, where at times when they shot, they will call you on, and sometimes I'm there. I want them to start the game so quickly before any of those name brand players come on, because once they come, they're going to tell you to come off. So even the 5 minutes at those times, it was relishing for even going on the pitch for 5 minutes with those guys.
I hear
so basically, it's the same regiment.
But I know when you were behind the goal, I mean, I think I used to get a lot more kick than some of the guys who were on the field, because some of them, the forwards were kind of wayward.
Yeah.
So you had to chase a lot of balls.
And you get it back over quickly as well, because those guys were back on the pitch, Yeah. So sometimes, when you're not getting, you have to run, because those guys come in to cuff you and so you got to run.
Yeah. But were there anybody within the community? Because what is said really is that sometimes greatness and success and so starts in the home, where the parents would kind of encourage the kid and and support them, and then when they finish from school and they come back into the community, there's somebody within the community who always kind of take responsibility for those kids and kind of take them, under their wings. And so did you have people within your community that did? I know Pacer Williams did that with cricket. I don't know if he did that with football, but were there anybody within
Pacer used to do that as well. I think that Challenger was the instrumental one, you know, and he started a little lead. We have at least 7 teams.
How old were you at that time?
At the time I was about 12, 13.
Okay.
We have a little lead where we have different name of villages in the village, like Ali, you know, Five House, New Village, West Palm Beach, Wadada, and so on. And they start a little lead, and then you have Little Sap, you know. So it was we start at a young age, and because of that, we grown up to be very competitive when we get to, you know, maturity.
What about you, Ninja?
Well, Shabba sound very young there saying about little sap, because when I started there was no sap. Just bowlers, basically. But yeah, well, my brother and Peter Henry, who I say, well, without fear, favor the greatest footballer that ever lived. I see people call all kind of people on TV.
On radio, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
saying how the great Peter Henry is the greatest footballer ever lived, and who don't disagree, well, more power to them. But my brother and Peter were very good. My brother wasn't the greatest skilled player, but he loved the game passionately. And growing up in Grey Hill, it was all about football. They played cricket, rubber ball, but it was mainly about football. Even in the cricket season, they used to play cricket from about 10 o'clock in the morning, and in the afternoon, go back, who lived down the hill, go down the hill, come back about 4 o'clock, and they played. And football was so free. Up on top of the hill, that was just loose football, not lying hill now, is that with the cricket, you had to be certain age and size to play cricket. So when they were playing cricket, you had to play behind the goal, just like the football. But in the afternoon, when you're playing like just basic football, anybody can play at any age. And it's up there I started, you know, playing with these guys, and, you know, formulated a love for the game that still have today.
So when did you guys, you know, got into the big times, you know, selected for the community top team?
Well, you know, before I really get out there, I used to play at Bowlands. You know, as I would mention, it was Bowlands, and, you know, then SAP and so on. So I made the transformation from Bowlands to SAP. But at that time, I was a goalkeeper. You know, I made the national under-19 side as a goalkeeper. I represent Antigua as a goalkeeper at under-19 level. I think my best moment at that under-19 was in Puerto Rico, where we have to play both games in Puerto Rico to qualify for the finals in Trinidad. And it was tough, you know, but we did have a good manager, Pat White.
Greatest.
Yeah, Pat White, and a no-nonsense guy.
Oh, yeah.
And Micah Samuel, you know, that's the time when, you know, I have to dress properly and so on, because, you know, with Pat White, you have to look the part to travel with the national team. But I can give you a story in that game, because we didn't have the resources to bring back Puerto Rico here. We have to play both game down in Puerto Rico, so it was a home away game. And
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The first game, I basically, in the first 20 minutes of the game, I made a tremendous save. You know, they used to call me Garden Banks. So I made a tremendous save, but I hit my head on the post, and that was it for me.
What happened to the post? I'm sorry.
that was it for me for the game, and I think that we lost the game 3-1. I went to the hospital and so on, and, you know, Pat White, you know, they have the meeting the next day, and Pat White said, "Look, hey, I don't care if we have to tie you up, ban you up, you're going back in that goal," you know. So, yeah, luckily I ended up and kept second in the second game, and we beat them 3-1.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and we went into penalty kick, and I saved 4 out of 5.
Wow.
That was the game, and that's where my goalkeeping took off.
Okay, but I want to ask you this question, because as a goalkeeper, I want to follow up on what you said, right? Started off as a goalkeeper, because, you know, I know goalkeepers save goal. Where did that transition come in now for you to be, I mean, ranked as one of the most prolific goal scorers that we have here in the country, or we had in the country, to scoring goals, from saving to scoring?
Well, you see, once you have the ability and you work hard and you love what you're doing, it comes easy. The transformation comes when, you know, we did have one of the top goalkeepers in the country, Wesley Dyer, at the time. So I always wanted to be on the pitch. I never want to be on the bench. You know, so I decided, look, once we have Nadley, and then we have another goalkeeper from Jennings, Francis, and it was three of us. And I decided, look, hey, I watch a couple of games, I sit on the bench, watch a couple of games, and I see the strikers, they're missing a lot of easy goals and so on. I say, look, man, I think that I can do better, because even though I was a goalkeeper, I was very good on my feet at that time. So I made a transformation. I told those guys, look, hey, I give up keeping, and I want to play out. It takes me a while before I can get a game on the pitch. You know, sometimes I go home, I don't wash my jersey because I don't sweat, and you know, and come the next game. And luckily, one day I have to thank this guy John. He used to work at Bryson. He called and said you have to work overtime, so he can't make it. So I get that opportunity against Jennings.
Did John ever get back on the side?
That was it for him, because in that game I scored double in that game, and it was hard to leave me out of the team scoring a double to leave me out the next game. And from that was it for John. The rest is history. I just continued to score goals in each and almost every game, and there he took off. You know, till I get a premier call.
Okay.
The national call.
What made you get into the ministry to be the Minister of Defense?
Okay, basically, what I can say, Derek transition into striker, playing out, was really one of the best things that happened to Antigua football, because Derek is the greatest, probably one of the greatest. Well, I have him as the greatest, and I haven't seen another striker from before. I've played with him, and I know he's the greatest striker I ever played with by far.
Right.
I really, as I said, for Lion Hill, all the game second, all the game first. Was started to train in first division with a big team, with Lion Hill, so graduated from behind. Never played. Then I was played for State College. We won a final. And that year, I don't know if you see me play for State College or what, but there I was. No. I got into the team, and I was, actually, I subbed on against you superstars at Yasco. Halftime, I subbed out in the second half. And let me tell you, I subbed on that game. We had about 4 more games in first division and then Premier Division. I never subbed off again. From that game, I started until retirement. Just
but you always you were fascinated with being a defender, or because I mean I don't know. I know in the latter days now. I mean in the latter days you always kind of move from the defense.
No, Emma, people mistake that now. The second game in that first. Remember I subbed on the game against Superstar. The second game was against Triumph, which we won 5-0. I scored in that game. So my first full game I scored. I was scoring goal a long time.
As a defender?
No, you can't be as a defender. You have to be attacking.
No, you could come up somewhere time for a corner. I think you got something.
Well, I can't remember the detail if it was a corner or not. But what I'm saying is that scoring goal is easy. I never understand how people have problem to score goal. When I'm in front of the goal, it's like slow motion. Like it has as much time as possible. Maybe different header, but if it's on the foot, man, you're supposed to have full control of that.
Maybe so, talk a lot of times with the Pretty Boy, man. Where you think he looks so easy, man?
Well, me and Pretty Boy, and I'm saying my second game, Pretty Boy didn't come as yet.
Oh, okay.
So he couldn't be
so he couldn't be Pretty Boy.
No, yeah. And at that time, he didn't have much defenders that scored regular, basically. Sometimes it's just instinct. Sometimes you stay behind and look and chance the opposing defense and the chances that you guys missing and you know your ability. Listen, they're easy goal for me to score. If one's going that, get in that position and get that opportunity, I'll score that 9 times out of 10, basically.
I know at one point Lion and Split, they started in second division, and just 3 years when they got into the Premier. From second to first, and from first division to the Premier Division. Right? What was that like? And tell us what contributed to the success for you to get to Premier in 3 years, starting at the lowest division?
Well, what don't exist now? A sense of community, a sense of team, a sense of belonging in that community. Because there was a team before Lionel with name Excelsior. Actually, the same Peter Henry, there was a game, because we were following a long time with Rosemary James and so. Anyway, Lionel play, we were there. I'm a little kid, Rosie, bigger Kerr, super split. And we had a game at PM. We had Willie Key about 1-0, about less than 5 minutes, just about 5 minutes. Wilkie came back and scored 2 goals and beat us. Peter said he stopped. Stiffy used his books. 2 main man say, well, Stevie say, if you tap, me tap too. So that was it for Excelsior. But with the Grace Green League, they brought in Lion Hill because, you know, that was the days of Jed Rasta militancy. So they renamed the area Lion Hill, the Jed blacks from the area, the Jed men. And so they put a team in Grace Green League, which is Lion Hill Split. But after the team was so successful, they decided, listen, we can go back in the lead and carry this team. William Lewis, Ashby Lewis worked near at the end of their career and wanted to give back to community. Have been there and done that for a superstar in Antigua also. So they tried to go back from first division, because Excelsior was in first division. But the Football Association said, no, you have to go from second division. So Excelsior had to. What they wanted to do was go in and change the name from Excelsior to Lion Hill once they were back in.
Right.
But since they say, okay, you have to go from second, they just say, okay, I'm not with the Excelsior no more. We're going straight Lion Hill. Some of the men didn't come. David Tull, and he's one of the greatest Lion Hill players. He still played for superstars, but most of the players came back. Zoltan Brathwaite, we had some great players in that team. They had, because I wasn't playing as yet. And that team won all the games in second division, did not lose or draw a game. They drew about 1 or 2 games in first division, but did not lose. So in those 2 seasons, that team was not defeated. Unfortunately, the first year we went Premier, Eustace Brooks, Stiffy migrated. So he didn't play Premier at all with the team. Peter Henry played 1 year and then he migrated also.
Right, I remember,
Yeah. So I always tell people, listen, Lion Hill, 2 greatest players, we never win a championship with them now. So if we can never win a championship with Lion Hill, 2 greatest players, we can win a championship without anybody else, basically. But that's how the team started, because after games, they used to congregate right on Grey Hill Corner, Top Armstrong Road on the step there, where Teacher Parker, you know, God rest his soul and condolences to the family, where his school is. That was where the men from Lion Hill, Lime, from virtually after every game, sometime after midnight they're there. So you really could dissect what went on in the game. It's different now, because it was no argument and fight. Now if you try to dissect and you say, hey, you didn't do that, you might create some kind of war. But that's basically how Lion Hill came about.
I'm going to ask you about how you got the name Lion Hill Spliff. I mean, because of the Dread who started the team or something?
Yeah, the Echo, and believe it or not, he ended up like a vagrant on the street, but he was a original Lion Hill player. Keynes, Echo Keynes,
right.
He died a few years ago. Ras Baba, he had a couple, the Jed, the Rasta, that Lime. Actually, they had carved it out in a rock, and the next step we just sit down just before Christian Street also. But that wall has fallen down. But basically, by the time the football came around Grace Green League, everybody was saying Lion Hill. So was Lion Hill Split, basically. Actually, the Football Association took away the split from us by force. A few years later.
The split.
Yes, by force. Yes. So that's basically how Lion Hill.
Well, what about you, pretty boy? When did you, when you got into the senior team, right? About what age and how was that for you?
Yeah, it was a good experience. You know, I get in there at a tender age, probably about 20, 21.
Yeah, I'm just talking about before we Lion Hill Split made a big transfer fee.
Well, my first year in the Premier League, the Premier Division, you know, it was 1986. You know, and my first game was against Rangers. And I scored a double in that game. You know,
You like your doubles?
yeah, man, I like doubles, and I take the scoring from the first division straight into the Premier Division. You know, I think my second game against Five Island, where I score again against Five Island in my second game. I end up with something like 8 goals that year. At that time, if you score 8 goals that time, you score a lot of goals because the competition was the quality of play and the quality of defense and so on was real outstanding. You know, you have to play a man like Fernando Abraham and so in the defense and so on, and Ivor Luke and those guys. It was tough, but I get a national call. I think Danny Livingston was the national coach, and I guess he saw something in me that he thinks that, you know, could go far. You know, so
he wasn't wrong. Trust me, he wasn't wrong.
Yeah, he wasn't wrong at all, because I get in as a youngster. I learn the craft. I sit and watch players like Derek Greenaway and so on, and Sean de Turville. You know, I think Bata was on the team, and Nando and Elvis. You know, One Sap House and those guys. You know. So I sit and...
You call some names, they got some good...
Yeah, Wasper Williams, Pelton Anthony and so on. And when you could, and Nato Hurst and so, when you're in a lineup like that, as a youngster, you know, it was a pleasure for me to sit on the bench at that time and watch those guys perform and just waiting my opportunity to go on the pitch. You know, right now, the youngsters, they don't want to wait and daytime. They want to go right away. You know, sometimes you got to sit and learn the craft. You know, I sit and learn the craft until I get my time.
The opportunity, yeah.
And he took off from there.
Okay, now, I remember you mentioned Danny Livingston there, right? And I have always thought that things had kind of changed when he came around, both in cricket and also in football, right? We get to understand a little more about how the game is played, in terms of how we train and stuff like that. Did you find that with Danny? What do you think of him when he came on board as a coach, right? Compared to those who were there before him.
Well, it was a different transformation from your village team to the national team, because then you start to learn and see things that you never see before, and it really improve your game once you're willing to learn. You know, one thing in Danny, he's going to give you opportunities. You just have to want it. And I think with Danny coaching, you want to go back the next day, because you want to see what's in store the next day.
That's right.
You know, and that
to training and stuff.
To training, because you're doing something that you never do before, and you want to go and do it again, and you want to see what's there again to do fresh, and that's what Danny brings, and discipline to the football.
I hear you talk about Danny's cricketing ability, but in terms, I have not seen it or been exposed to it. In my football days, I wasn't watching much cricket. Because again, I was based at Grey Hill, and where we play rugby, softball, cricket. And after my abilities, you know, start developing football, I didn't really want to play no ton of cricket after that. Because I was a batsman, and there was a lot of fast bowlers out there. Basically, I didn't want to fight that war, you know, in the football half season in terms of dealing all them fast bowlers. But basically, when the national team came in too, because we were touring a lot in the half season. But Danny Livingston was the coach who picked me also.
Okay.
Yes, Danny Livingston is one of Antigua's greatest coach, at least from a football, greatest mind, football mind. Very astute.
He's arguably in the cricket too, but go on. Yeah.
Well, I didn't have much exposure from the cricket. But Danny Livingston was the first coach that I saw analyze an opponent. And basically how he analyzed them was just like, I mean, he's the coach for that team. When you go there and play against that same team. And he analyzed the team years ago, St. Lucia, by film. He didn't see them live. We didn't have the money so to go and see them live. And he watched a recent game by film. And Danny Livingston analysis was on point. I was so amazed when we went and played the game. I didn't play, I had a grind problem, but I was on the bench, and he was so astute and on point in terms of the strength and weakness of that team. And I was amazed. And one of the things in coaching now, it's not much coaches can analyze game, especially when the game is running and you have to make adjustment and so. And he was a master in that.
I want to tell you too, right, or ask you about the surface, because, I mean, for Spliff to be the champion of second division, and then went on to first and be the champion in first, and also went on to win championship in the Premier Division, right? And playing in that little field behind by the school, that was the ground, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how was the adjustment? I mean, playing in that small area and then gravitating to the bigger pitch. How was that?
It was easy. That actually helped when you're playing a bigger field. The quality of players Lion had. One time Lion had about 9 players in the national team. We played a team here from England, and Lion had about 9 players called for that game. So the quality of players that you played against on that little field, your technique has to be on point. Your game awareness had to be on point. Your whole understanding of the game had to be on point. It was a small area, none of the fields are so smooth.
But it wasn't marked.
It was never marked.
Never marked. So
it didn't matter.
So as a goal scorer, I would say, I mean, if I play with my back to the goal and I get a pass here and I look down and I see the line, I will say I'm close to the 6-yard box, you know. So when I turn and I know the goalposts are not going to move, right? So I can. But you had no. So you had to be 100%.
The first time I remember Lion field mark is since I'm a coach. We won 4 championships.
Yeah.
Basically, once you have good foundation and good technique, and your cognitive, good understanding in the game, good awareness, so that sets in good stead.
Right. Okay.
Technique is technique. Now, if you have good technique, you have good technique. Now, if you have good technique and understanding and awareness, basically, regardless if you're playing on a small area, a large area, that foundation will always show you. And that happened to Lion. He never gave us no problem in terms of playing on
Yeah, I would want to think because of the quality of players that the Lion Hill had, they sort of adapted quickly to a big field that is marked. You know, they adapted pretty quickly because of the quality.
And a lot of the players usually play Premier Division. That we had, like Ashby, William Lewis, they played a lot of years in the top league. Peter Henry, same used to Stiffy Brooks, he used to play for Harpers. Peter played for Lion and then he played for Empire. Actually won a championship with Empire. You had yourself, you had Dan Joseph, superstar, Zoltan Batwit, superstar. We had a lot of players who played for a top team. So that experience of those players really was a great benefit to the team also.
Pretty boy, your toughest defense. I mean, you know, you were regular getting doubles. Who was your most difficult defender, opponent?
See them right against me there. We have some tough battle. I can show you something.
Some battle marks.
Yeah, man. You see this? This is from a tackle that I get from him. Yeah, Ivan Luke was one of my toughest opponent that I have in the defense. I have to come up against, and I think I would say I would put Ferrans in the ranking. God rest his soul. He was tough as well. You know, Nando. Yeah, he was real tough as well. You know, but it's not much defenders out there that used to stop me. But I have to give, you know, credit to Ivor Luke and Nando and Ferrans. Those 3 guys, I have to really keep my eyes on all the time and try to outthink them, outfox them, because I know that I was a marquee player, and those guys used to come at me, you know. hard.
Yeah, keep
You
an
know,
eye
after
pretty boy.
after the game, you know, we're good friends. You know, and that's one of the reasons why I went to Lionel as well, because after Sap went to first division, and I was in the national team. Sap wasn't doing the training that I want to do, to stay in shape, to be, you know, a top guy in the national team. So I basically have to leave to keep the standard up. And I get a couple of calls from teams like Villa, Hoppers, Empire, and I think Lion Hill was the team.
We were able to
Lion Hill was the team
transfer fees.
that really caught my eyes, you know. So.
Because of the style, the style, you know.
It's not so much about the style, no. It's about the kind of players that Lionel possessed at the time. You were there as well. William Lewis, you know, Jerry Brown and Coog and those guys, you know.
Well, you see the man, this was a hard taskmaster, right?
Yeah, I think that I did have a talk with Ivor, you know, before I make the transformation to go to Spliff, you know, and you know, it was a tough move, because, you know, I'm leaving my home team, but at the end of the day, I have to look about myself and my game. Right. At the national level, you have to be on point, because people are always out there waiting to take your spot. So I have to keep the level up. So that's why I go to Lion Hill Spliff.
But I asked you about the most difficult opponent. But what is the team now? Like when you saw the defense, you know, you say, well, today is going to be a nice day for you.
Well, you're talking about presently now?
We need playing days coming right here up to.
No, well, you know, there's some teams that I know once the whistle blow are going to score goals because of the quality of the defense that they have. You know, I know that coming up against Spliff, it will be tough. Coming up against Empire, it will be tough, and lesser Five Islands. You know, but the other teams, you know, I don't think that when I look on the defense and so on, it was a piece of cake.
What about you, Ninja? Who the forward that made you scratch your head? I mean, outside Pretty Boy.
Well, let me tell you, I was a student in the game from young. I don't know why, but I used to go to the games when I'm not playing and I'm not training. Sometimes I just go for just first half and then hustle over to train. What I used to do, I used to look on the strikers, the attacking players. What particular move they have that they go to all the time? Do they go left, then fake left to go right? Do they shot on the turn, or do they have a set straight behind the ball? This kind of thing. Do they always go left? Do they always go right? Most usually go left or right. So I had good knowledge of most of the attacking players in terms of how they played. And then I was a pretty smart sweeper back. A lot of time I used to, because with the sweeper back position, they play a lot zone now. But in the sweep back position, you could always maneuver the player in front of you to mark. So a lot of time, I was always in control of the situation. When I need to step, I step. So to me, it was pretty easy with that. When I came in, there was a guy from Freeman Village, guy Spade, Manelva, from Freeman Village, brother, deadly player. He was so good that when Freeman, I don't know where he worked, but he's always late, maybe about 10-15 minutes. And Freeman Village starts with 10 every game till he reaches. And the time is so different. By the time he runs through the big gate, he starts strip off clothes, so running and training off clothes. Now, sometimes I playing a man late, the game started, a man just thrown across the field and the team shot. But Spade was a very crafty player, and the problem with the thing with him, he could kick the ball from any direction, from any distance with basically left or right foot. Shabba was troublesome, but what he tried to do all the time was make sure he's marked. Don't give him space to come at you all the time. Pressure. So I was trying to make sure that he's marked. There was Tread Meat. Say he beat me. Maybe he had some discussion. Go and do this and that. But tell you fantasize.
Yeah, he dreamed a lot.
Yes, a good partner. And he was a very smart player also, because You cannot really, he does not confront you. He's a good player, good dribbles well, but he'll pass and move. So by the time he reach, he pass, gone to space. He was troublesome also. But basically, those are the players that I had some problems with.
Just have to keep an eye on, yeah.
Yes, the rest players, because you don't analyze, you don't organize the defense, it's always tough, you have to fight hard, you know. I relish the battle when Param brought Trini here.
Right.
Excellent player. Yeah. Very, very quick player, very skillful player.
Brought all the best in defense.
Yes, he brought all the best in defense, basically. And I relish the challenges. I always relish challenge.
I know. I know you don't back up for anything.
No, I always say, listen, everybody have two feet, one head. Somebody is different. I am not afraid and never was. I see people saying Messi, Ronaldo. Maybe they should be thankful that the band, where the band, the two is. They're rich because the band where they were, the band, and they did not come from this area in time to meet somebody that that is really, really destructive. You know, so kudos to them, because I've watched them, just like I have watched the strikers as a player. And they have some particular things they do. Messi is very, 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 very skillful. They
I think he defy all the coaching ethics. Of the ball. You know, with all the little steps with the ball, which allows defenders to actually catch you.
Yes, he does.
But I think his strength is his change of direction. He he cuts back and.
Well, I find a lot of players too often. If he cuts back in the front of the 18, he's deadly, right? He has the ability to put the ball anyway. Once he gets on that left foot, anyway, more to the front of the 18. So I'm saying, basically, give him right all the time. He can go on right and try to get it back on his left. But you have a better chance if you give him right all the time. His right foot is so much weaker than the left, especially in terms of power and accuracy. You understand? The thing with it, you cannot half balance. You cannot move your balance. If you move your balance, once you move your body direction, he will just change direction. The least touch.
Flash.
But sometimes I have to be a student in the game. That's one of the things that I thought that stood me in good, standings during my career.
I want to ask you all a question now, right? Let me start with Pretty Boy. Pretty Boy, how many caps you have?
I have 63 caps.
Huh?
63.
63. How many goals?
59.
Excellent. You taking your personal stats?
Yeah, man. Because to tell you the honest truth, we don't do well here with stats and record.
With record.
So you basically have to. You basically have to craft your own record. And believe you me, 90% of the teams that I played against, I score.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I can tell you the teams that I never scored.
63 caps.
59 goals.
59 goals.
All the teams that played I played against in the Caribbean.
Ninja, what about you? How many caps do you have?
No, Marvin, I can't even start to tell you a lot.
Okay.
I can tell you I finished.
You can't even go to an association and find out.
That's the problem.
But I can tell you I finished nearly 2 passports in quick time. Quick time. We traveled so much, especially to the 80s. I scored 9 goals. I scored 9 goals, I know. And
national goals?
Yes.
Okay.
9 national goals, and one of them in Bermuda, man. That was a beauty, man.
No, normally your goals are beautiful, especially when you move from the back there.
Well, I didn't move for the one.
Somebody set you up,
No, I didn't move for the one. Actually, you were in Bermuda World Cup qualifying. They had one here. They got a deflection own goal, one that hit me a shot and went in, and they scored. And we went down there with about 14 players, so we didn't have a full team. But it was a corner. I said, listen, I'm not going to run up there and not getting that ball. The corners were not being kicked so accurate at the time. So I'm saying, let me stay just within the half. So I was like just above the halfway circle in their half. And the ball was in a bungle and it cleared. The ball cleared and was running on Bermuda. The turf was very, very good.
Oh, nice.
So I just ran it and struck it. And let me tell you, maybe the most perfect ball I ever hit. Listen, that goalkeeper he dashed full tilt in the V, and the goal was hanging up. The crowd was making someone nice for me, basically, which was Bermuda crowd. But yeah, I scored 9 goals. Can't say how much games. Did not really count them. Only hindsight is the best side. Sometimes I don't expect that there's no record.
Yeah, but it's kind of sad because you know, after we've played and stuff like that, and you know, and people who have seen us, you know, when they pass, you dead, you know, you never get wiped out unless, you know, there's something on record. Like for example, there's a picture of Pretty Boy, and the teams he played with, the years he played with the team, how many goals he scored, you know, national goals.
No, that's not it.
You know, we need to have this kind of record. So anybody who comes after us, your grandchildren can come and say, look, my great grandfather played for, and show the record. But after the generation that has seen us play, when they're gone,
that's it.
Well, tell you what, Seth Burton, he write 2 books, and we have with that we have some evidence of some of the things that we do when we used to play.
Okay.
That's who got in the book.
Yeah, it's in writing.
That's fantastic.
You know.
Fantastic.
Well, the ABF don't even know sometimes a proper record of how much championship Lion Hill win. Sometimes they have 3. Sometimes they don't have the right year.
Remember, I'd given them a thing. Now there's a guy from Great Farm, and I mean he can rattle it right off his head. He doesn't have to go for any paper. He can tell you from particular time to maybe now, you know. And he used to watch football a lot, you know. And I had this for a while, and it was down at the football office. And I was hoping that we could build in it, you know, building it. But anyhow, okay, that's so much for your playing days. But now that you guys have left the game, you know, and I know you gave back something to coach clubs before getting national call for coaching the national team and stuff like that, right? Your experience as coaches. I know as players, I know it. You know, as players, we and coming up under a particular coach, you know, we always start there. You know, the things that you used to do, and you know, and from passed on from one to the other until you attended courses and stuff like that, right? What was that coaching like? You know, were you the type of coach that what should I say? Like, you know, when you're a player, you know, you were like a particular way, but after you got to being a coach, now you had to change, or you were still the same person.
Well, for me, I carry the same mentality as a coach when I was playing. You know, very aggressive. You know, but at times, when time goes on, you learn when too aggressive, when not too aggressive. It's just like you're playing, you know. But I think that the transformation from playing to coaching, it's much more difficult, because now, as I would say, you have to do a lot of analyzation. You know, you have to prepare your work for the next day. You know, and you have to know, well, if that's not working, you have to move from plan A to plan B as quick as possible, so you can have your players and them being comfortable with what you're doing. So coaching it's a tough job, but you have to want to do it. You have to enjoy it, and you have to enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, but sometimes too, you know, coaches are always like your team. You always expect them to be like you, and they can't be like you.
Yeah, so
and sometimes it is a little frustration, but that is one part of the coaching that you also have.
Yeah, you have to know when to take your foot off the pedal with that.
Okay,
you know?
Okay. What about you, Ninja?
Well, I transitioned into coaching as a player. Lion Hill had gotten demoted to the first division, and we were down there 2 years. The first year we made the playoff, we were not successful. The next year we didn't make the playoff. The third season I went down to the park and tell them, listen, I'm playing and coaching this year. I'm coaching the team back to Premier. When we reach Premier, I finish, I stop. And well, luckily it happened. That was the last year I played, the year we were promoted back to the Premier Division. I really didn't have nothing to prove to go back to the Premier Division. Been there, done that. The only thing I saw that I could prove, I didn't really want to play no more, I didn't want to train and stuff, but one thing I could prove was that I was old. But so that was it. I coached the team the first year. We came 7th, we stayed up. Next year I left after about 5 years. The players were not practicing, and I was working with Zoran Vanis, with Future Stars program, and the national program. And I was telling the players, it looks bad if my team is losing all the time. And I said, I don't mind if we're training and we're losing, then it's on me, the coach. But I'm just coming to game, can't get a full team to practice. So it's not on me, but it looks like it's on me. And I cannot accept that. Same thing continued to happen, so I just tell them thanks for the time. Because one thing I'm not doing, I'm not going on no bench and I have not developed a team. I can do it one half to help out. But if a regular thing, if a team doesn't have the inclination or the will to win and be successful, as a coach, you're wasting your time. But that's how I started coaching, and basically, the transition is different because I played very high-tempered and aggressive. As a coach towards the players, you cannot be that. Like Shabba say, you have to have the moments when you could pull up a player. Sometimes in the game, I call a player after the game now, and we're running with 10 men and tell them, come, cool at the sideline, cool here, relax. Because sometimes the game is not so important that what you're doing is detrimental to the team, things like that. So in terms of coaching, it is totally different than playing, because in playing you can express all your emotion that you want. In coaching you have to temper that emotion sometimes.
Like Superstars, the team that we had played for, and so early after we left school, we went on into first division because from Premier, after being a successful team, right? Because most of the players after school, we were in the school team, and after we left school, we decided to stay together, and we stayed together for a couple of years before some of the players migrated. And then you had people. We didn't represent an area. We were not a community-based kind of team. Right, so you had players from Bowlands coming to join, people from Freetown, all over. And so when we lost, we didn't have anybody to face, as to say, we had our fans. We had our fans from the Superstars days, but it was just inevitable that at some point that we were going to be demoted. And I think that was the kind of end of Superstars. Somehow, as you was talking about it a little earlier, pretty boy, that some of these players today, they're the Messi and Ronaldo. Any team they join, they must play. They don't want to serve an apprenticeship kind of period where they can learn and work hard, train, and get into the team. And if they find that they come and join a team and they didn't start or they didn't get any playing, they go on to another team.
Exactly.
And the same thing happened. And I think that is one of the reasons why, teams don't seem to do pretty well, or you don't have the same roster of players, from year to year, And I don't know. I've found kind of lately, because I went back to coaching a little, right? And I find out now that there is no club. When I say there's no club, there is people don't join the team. They come in and the sponsor pay some kind of money. Oh, register him.
Yeah.
He wants to play with us, and then the guy comes to practice, and so the guy comes to practice, and then if he find that he's not of the quality by the coach, I want to transfer, and so that seems to be a problem. What do you think? What do you think about those situations?
I think it's come down to club structure. If you're going to have a club, you have to have certain rules and regulations that govern the club.
But we used to pay to join a club. Right? We pay a subscription, and it helps to run the club and stuff like that. In the absence of sponsorship and stuff like that.
Well, I think that most of the clubs now, the sponsors pay them all. They get money from the sponsor. The players don't show any money to join any club. They just register them and they just play. But I think that if you have a proper club structure, where you have
The president,
the president, the vice president, the secretary, the treasurer, the PRO, and you set it up properly, then you can overstep those hurdles.
But do they have that kind of any team like that?
Some of the club, you have some,
Not much.
but not
If
much.
any, not much.
Not much.
Not much.
Not much.
If any, not
Wow.
much,
You know.
basically.
And I basically think that we're not a professional. We're not in a professional setting, so you can't hold players.
You have to be careful when you say
Exactly.
no. When you say you're not in a professional setting, no.
We're not-
We're in an amateur league with professional players, guys. The players getting a little team.
Yeah, but remember,
but
if
still-
you're an amateur league,
We're
with
still amateur
professional,
league.
everything that you do and how you conduct it will be amateurish, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what's happening,
Okay.
basically. One of the things I see with that, see with me with my Lion shirt, right? We have to, it's a different time. Nobody going behind on goal, the bread line no more. Malika, that the word, they just call it bread line.
Bread
When you
line.
go behind
That's
the
right,
goal,
bread line.
nobody bread line no more. So basically, the clubs have to be innovative. I hear people that is even non-sportsmen following Manchester, and Liverpool, Manchester City, Arsenal, and the rest. I'm saying,
Call Chelsea, man. Chelsea.
because if you look on, you see, if you look on maybe Empire, Empire had a hour about it them, and even now we talk about Empire kind of way, because it's something that was cultivated. You understand? And I'm saying the administrators of clubs have to look into these kind of things. Basically, cultivate that love, that respect for the club into the players, especially from your youth program. How much club has a motto?
That's true.
I
I made a motto for SAP since I get there.
What was SAP's motto?
Spirit, attitude, performance.
Yeah,
You understand? But
I've seen it. Yeah.
outside of that, there is not much club that has a motto, for instance. You need to develop those youth, sponsor them, encourage them. And let me tell you, with the pain, 1 year, right now we're spoiling the players because they don't have the players sent.
Right.
Now, if you just give somebody something and they don't contribute it, they will not cherish it. One of the year where we did, and me and Kinsley Irish at Lion Hill, so okay, $40 to register to the ABFA. So we registered the team, because you meet it as that, nobody paying, no registration. Okay, we implemented $1 per day. So it's a $5 a week from Monday to Friday. And just $1. And all they come, they say, hey, where the $1? If you don't have it, you can easily beg $1 for somebody. You realize that in just 8 weeks, you don't make back the $40. So
Yeah.
anything after that is money is coming to the club that the club can now spend back on those same players to help the club function. So although players you can't get players to pay, there are creative ways that about 95% of the players pay. The thing is, you have to have somebody down at the park every day to say, because coach can't worry with all them things.
No.
Somebody there to say, hey, where's the dollar? Oh, this dollar. You didn't bring a dollar yesterday, or $2 tomorrow. Remember to bring it tomorrow. Things like that. Let me tell you, we made so much more money. Well, not made, but the club ended up with so much more money than if, because the season lasts longer than 2 months. So basically, these are some innovative ways that you could get revenue into the clubs along with fundraising. There's not much club that fundraise much more.
Yeah. Everything is just put on a platter, you know.
I watch Lion Hill in first division and the amount of people come so a lot of them game. And basically, once I'm on for Lion Hill this season, we have to find a way and somebody to run a cooler for us. Because there's so much people coming to the first division game.
It's a lot.
And you need somebody also to pass on with the hat. Don't charge. If it's not possible to man gates and some of the parks are not completely fenced. But go on with the box and ask some people to make a contribution also. That also is possible. The clubs need to be innovative. in order for them to develop. And that, because time change, the problem that we have in even our cricket MR is that we have not changed with the time. We are a country of critics, so everybody know what is being done around.
Nobody offer any solutions, right?
Not only offer solutions, but a lot of people that's criticizing don't come and say, okay, I have a solution, I am going to come and help implement it. Their critique and solution is from afar, which does not help nothing, help improve nothing. And that's one of the things that we face in our football today, in our sport in general.
But I find that there is a lot of things in place, but the main ingredient, for a club to function and to function properly, because these clubs, they have supporters. I see much people going behind these clubs, where they playing, follow them, you know.
They have supporters to criticize them, but there is not much of those supporters that are coming into the club to help with administration.
Right.
It is not the players that is failing the sport, no, believe it or not, no. It is one, and I can call them out, a lot of fast players, and to the community at large. Because a lot of people that come to this game, they cost everybody that try. They cost the administrator, that's there. I'm talking the community team. And let me tell you, they have to be strong to be a coach. They cost the coach morning, noon,
and they get very close to the coaches too.
Especially in first division.
You try to move code to get to your players so in first division and second division. But tell me something now, and it brings me to the point now where now you guys started off as players, and you all went on to coaching, and now you're seeking to make some changes to how the football is going at the present moment, which is not in a good direction. We did talk about club structure. Is this something on your slate or your plate to do if you are successful in the next general elections?
Saba?
Yeah, well,
club structure.
Yeah, you have to have proper club structure, but you have to take it slowly. You can't want to go and change everything. So you have to take it step by step to put things in place. And not only club structure, but facilities as well. I think that we lack in proper facilities in all sports in aspect. So those are some of the things that we have to do. A lot of education with coaches, management, commentators and different things.
I find it would be, I find it would be pretty easy because when the football season is coming up, everybody seems to be interested. They want to play. So they are not concerned too much about the functioning and so of the club. They just want to, when the schedule will come out, when the schedule, But you see, so what I'm saying is that if the association, and if you are successful, I would suggest that, you for all the clubs that are presently with the association, you send them something to say, this is what you want to see. You want to see who is the president of the club, you want to see who's the secretary, who's the treasurer, and when game time, you must have a physiotherapist. And if there is none, could you provide somebody or send somebody, and we in the association will get somebody to train that person on first aid, so that in the event that anything happens. So when you write up your list for your game, you'll have you'll have your team, right? The coach, the person who's doing physiotherapy, the team physiotherapist, and so it's a good way to start. And if they don't do that, they do not qualify to be a member. I know it's a hard step that you're taking. You're taking a hard step. But if you want to move in the right direction and to get things going, then eventually they will conform to what is required.
But remember, I just said that you have to take things
Yeah,
in stages.
stages, yeah.
And everything that you're saying there, I don't know if you have a fly on the wall when we have our little discussion and so on, but you have.
You say all great mind think alike. So let's say.
Yeah, all great mind things alike.
Yeah.
And some of the things that you talk about there a while ago, we already implement them in our presentation. But I can relate to some of them as well.
Another thing I want to suggest too here is that FIFA is now offering a little more money, right? And there are quite a few grounds that partly fence or can accommodate through an entrance, so somebody can at least pay a little fee when games are being played at that venue. All right. We see the persons who pick up money at the gate, they're paid. The people who sell the tickets, they're paid. The referees, they're paid. The people who cut the field, right, and mark the field, they are paid, right? I would suggest that somewhere along the line, in the gate receipts or wherever it is, or maybe in your development plan, in the slice of the cake, you can put out a little piece to say, well, look, this is for the club. So in other words, 10% of the gate receipts will go to the clubs, right? 5%, 5%. But they must give an account, just like how the association have to give an account to FAP. They must give the association how the money is spent, so that there is no, commingling and so with funds and stuff like that. It must be used, associated with receipts of, maybe we bought 6 balls, so the receipt for 6 balls there, and that the treasury is doing some kind of work. So this is how association and so function. And of course, you should have a youth program within that club, and a women's league too, because women now cannot be left out of this whole thing. And I'm just throwing this out and just hoping that some of these things
probably have the playbook right in front of you, man.
Yeah, okay. So okay. Well, if these are things, go ahead, elaborate on them. So,
Mr. President, our former president, basically, when I look on this table, you have you, the elder, former player, Premier Division player, former national player, former coach, and former president of the ABFA. I have Shaba and myself, whose history is similar. Right. The only thing is, we are not running for president, we are running for vice president. But we are taking the same trail or road as you. So we are following your lead, basically. And coincidentally, as I said before, it's 3 Lion Hill man, former Lion Hill player. So there must be something in terms of ambition, and want to ascend to the highest office in football that is in Lion Hill. Basically, I won, and I believe Shaba also, because I'm not hitting nobody. This is just fact. In my opinion, the present ABFA executive has little or nothing to show for managing football in Antigua and Barbuda for the past 12 years. That's my honest opinion. But people different than me, Carl. I personally, let me tell you, when we feel MR, in my opinion, I just move. I don't wait for try and say, hey, maybe do. No, if I analyze it and I have not done good enough, thanks for the time, and that's why, although people say differently, if I'm a coach, I do it as a coach. When I realize I've lost the attention of that team, I can't motivate them to be better. It's time for the coach to go, because nobody ever fire no team. No. You fire a coach, you can fire one man. You can't fire 18 and 21 man. So basically, that's how I see it. If you look at the track record of the present executive, 12 years. When you were there, it was 250,000 a year, $1 million every 4 years.
650,000, yeah.
Right, it's gone up.
Yes.
There's a lot more funding for different projects for women now, girls. Look at St. Kitts. St. Kitts 4 or 5 years ago hit Antigua 8 or 10. I think it's 10 and they hit Trinidad 8. Now they beat Trinidad 7-1. People is going like they fight. Man, they beat Trinidad worse than that about 5 years ago. St. Kitts has put programs in place, development plans and programs that our national women team cannot stand up on the same field with them, play on the same field with them, and you have a competitive match. We are getting 6 and 8. Actually, I said we get about, if it's not 8, it's 10. That's about 5 years ago, Shaba.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, listen, in 12 years, what have we done in terms of structuring our football? There is nothing. For 12 years, what have we done in terms of structuring our clubs? There is nothing. The ABFA in December had a college combine. Remember, nobody gone off to college yet. They had a college combine by some kind of sporting group out of Trinidad where they try to say it's them. The first one in 12 years. Now on Chet Green and Ralph Potter, which was before 2002. Chet Green and Ralph Potter, Ralph Potter, Chet Green as the general secretary, had sent off a set of Antiguans to college, the ABFA. And you're telling me, for after 12 years and 7 months, because it's 7 months after the election in December, when the election was due, 7 months later, so it's 12 years, 7 months, that present administration has its first college combine. Be mindful, Mervyn, in football, what football has done. The head of Treasury, the head of Antigua's Treasury, went away on a football scholarship. Naya Roberts.
That's right.
The president of the ABFA is a lawyer and, as I understand, an accountant. Football scholarship. You have 3-5 Isaac, who is at PIC Insurance, football scholarship. You have Schiffer Brown, who is at Island Provision, major manager, football scholarship. And I'm saying for most of the scholarship, not all, some was initiated by clubs, but the ABFA followed that lead and actually got on board by the 2000s, before 2002. And now you're telling me that we're in 2022, and is in December 2021 we had a first college combine through the ABFA or some kind of college initiative, because it does not have to be a combine. You understand what I'm saying? So I am looking at it and saying, there's a lot of things you can do. The ABFA can have an overall prize for the best young player and academic for a college scholarship, for instance, 2 college scholarships. These are things that can be done, but in my honest opinion,
will be done once you're successful.
We'll be doing a lot of things, Emma. Because definitely that is going to be one of our, well, you know that Mrs. Barber Coates.
That's right. Okay.
Mrs. Barber Coates, from 2018, coming to football from 2018 until now 2022, have sent off or assisted 24 persons to go to university. And I am saying that 2018, on her own initiative, journey with the Free Kick Foundation.
She was not in any, but she was just with a club.
She was an executive member. She is an executive member of the ABFA. But it's not like the ABFA rallied around and said, look, let me get on board this and, you know, try for partner with this. No. So a lot of things she has done also with Ali and just also, and they have done a wonderful job. Matter of fact, they went St. Lucia for black tie opening, Shabba.
Yeah, red carpet, black tie.
Yes, for the same
Free Kick.
For the Free Kick Foundation.
Okay.
Because of the strides that they had made from the Antigua Leatherville. There was a grand opening, I think the tournament would be in April. And I'm saying, I look at Miss Coates and Mrs. Barber Coates, she has the willingness, the ability, the zest to transform.
The know-how?
Has her ability.
Okay.
Well, if you want to put up know-how with the ability, let's put that too. To transform the sport. Do not look because she's a woman. You know, I say, Ma, I say it as that. From since I come into football, I met Rugby League as a former president, St. Clair Crumb, Gatey James, Lennox Weston, Ralph Potter, Mervyn Richards, Everton Batao Gonzalez. You're talking about, well, it was 2 years span, but Charlie them was there for 10 years. Everton Gonzalez is there for the longest, 12 years. That I'm aware of. And I'm saying, it is time for maybe we look at a woman and see what she can do. Far as I see, it's only 4 years, so if she don't do nothing, it's way less than 12 doing nothing. So after 4 years, she don't do nothing, the clubs have the right to change their mind. But I am saying, presently, 12 years, there's nothing much to show. If you're showing me a project, a goal project with the artificial turf, built 20, finally built, wasn't started by again Ralph Potter and Chetweed. They're the one that engineered to get that project here, right? But if you're telling me that I'm going up that project and we're so bad and couldn't organize and couldn't raise funds that we had to throw up container for bathroom, let me tell you, container for bathroom supposed to be at Golden Grove and maybe Bowlands. I'm not singling out no field, but I'm saying the outside community fields, if anything. But you tell me we're looking to put down container bathroom and change room at our development center and brag like it's a great achievement. It's not a great achievement. It's a great achievement if those bathroom was okay. Well, they can't say lie, we don't use. So let me say Golden Grove, I hope nobody knock me. But I don't know if nobody might be offended because I want to bring container bathroom on their field.
You say it all the community fields.
Right. But basically, I'm seeing big thing to have container. Man, we should have purposely built and proper infrastructure there. That's what St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Munshot got. They don't want a container change room. And going on like a great achievement and some stand. If rain coming, you better make sure you have your umbrella, and if sun hot, make sure you have your umbrella also.
I know there was some people who were saying on the ground, you know, that persons who would vie for a president position in the organization should be a president of the club where they come from. But I mark you, I don't think the president now was a president of the Villa Lions Club, but all of a sudden I hear this has been thrown in, and of course the whole idea that one has to play for the national team or national this or national that
elitist
would know more about football, right? Now I know for example that the former president of the United States, which is Barack Obama, which we all admired and so much, all right, never fought, he was never in the army, he never fought war or anything like that, but he's a good manager. So in other words, he relied on his technicians, right? And I think that Ms. Barbara quotes that she has two good technicians here, people who have started from player to coaching, right, and have managed their clubs. So you can say that they have a little bit of administration in them for the management of the clubs and stuff like that, to give her advice. And as being a good manager, she'll be able to ask the questions of you and then decide exactly, if we do this, what will be the result for that, and get the game moving forward.
I can tell you one thing that I observe about Mrs. Scholes. She's a very good listener. And once you're a good listener, you're a good learner.
Okay.
And to tell you the honest truth, I see a lot of presidents in my time come and go. And Mrs. Scholes is the first president that ever bring a program, outline a program to me.
No. She's not president yet, but
Well, in making.
okay, any president? Okay, go on.
Outline a program to me to move football from the stage that it is in now. All the other president give you lip service. She give you a SWOT analysis, the strength and the weakness, and where the football can move on from now for the next 4 years. It's not going to be a wholesale change and a quick fix. It's going to take time because
Especially if it's damaged badly.
it's in a mess right now. You can say that. It's in a mess right now. When it comes to infrastructure, we are at the bottom of the pile. Because now, St. Kitts, St. Lucia, Anguilla and so on, they managed to play home and away football now.
Anguilla said they've been in 5 years.
We still at ARG with Premier League. It's time enough for Premier League to move out into the various communities. Where, as you say,
Rooms.
good training rooms. There's funding that is available that we can assess.
Just the clubs, yeah.
And I just don't understand why we never do it. The other St. Kitts do it, and Anguilla do it, St. Lucia, Munster have a dam now. Where players can stay in overnight, weekends. St. Lucia, the players them go to school right there. Practice, go to school. That's the kind of facilities that those countries have. So we're saying now that we have to get at least 2 to 3 venues with changing rooms, because you go in the training room now, you have a lot of female playing football now. There's no changing room where they're supposed to go to change their clothes.
No bush
Around, it's clear passing now.
Really down.
So you can see that in 2022, we still at square one, infrastructure-wise. And we're saying, once we get the opportunity to take the lead, we have to get at least 3 fields equipped with changing room and get football out in the community as well. It's about time, because when I was in Jamaica, it's just 2 stands and a changing room. Most of the Premier League teams have, and they have a lot of gathering.
One of the things that we must really take serious is that Mrs. Barbara Coates, Arlene Josiah, Curtis Charles, and Ruby Williams. And believe it or not, Ruby Williams is not part of us running with us. But since those persons have declared their running, the ABFA has totally blacklist them. And I'm saying the ABFA is not the authority, and we have a constitution. So since they started and announced they were running, and they were not running with the president, Mrs. Coates was running against the president, they have been virtually blacklisted, or blackballed, how you call it, in the Soviet era in the United States, where they say people is communists and them kind of thing. They have not been invited to virtually nothing, not even executive meeting. And that is not right, but it seems like who are the power do as they like. And that is what I'm saying. Our slate is a slate, not because me and Shaba come from a football background. There is Miss Anna Lynch, who teach at PM for over 30 years. She teaches accounts. That is something that Mrs. Coates in her wisdom saw that, hey, we need to teach the treasurers of clubs basic accounts, how to keep basic accounts.
I see
how we could read.
I see that's a plan. That's a plan.
Right. We have Michael, who is in IT. And basically we are Curtis, a former referee. The only referee have that went to the World Cup. So it's a IPA who has managed not only cricket, but not only football, but cricket clubs also. So, Arlene just said that's in business and who has worked on a lot of things, that is a great organizer and go-getter.
Was in a lot of associations too. Yeah.
Yes. So when you look at the body that we are putting forward, right, you have Miss James, also who is a senator, independent senator. We have people with vast experience and diverse experience that comes along with me and Pretty Boy from the football side of it. So to me, those persons, if elected, and will do an excellent job for what is Mrs. Coach's vision to transform the sport like it has never been transformed. I was telling them last night that it's two things we need, right? We need structure. The games need to be structured. The association needs structure, right? And it needs transparency. There's nothing else that's needed. The football in Antigua needs an association to put structure in place. From if you have a coach, you must have a contract. He must know what his contract entails, what he can and cannot do. You need to have protocols or code of conduct for your boys team, your girls team. You need to have training that whosoever is dealing with this team, like you're talking about having a woman's lead, a girl lead, a boy lead. But we say, when you have that lead, basically, have those manager and coaches have to go to training. So they know the proper protocols to deal with children, to deal with young girls, things like that. You don't say, okay, we have a woman's lead and all who her team come. Those people need to be trained and know the proper protocols.
I totally agree, because I mean, you know, as coaches now, before times, you know, we used to, if we had kids, working with kids, and they make a mistake, you know, you could put a hand around them. They say, look, I mean, you're making a lot of mistakes, you know, and normally the person who make a lot of mistake normally on the losing team. So when you go back out there, try to eliminate and do this, and you can always give it a little advice with a little hug. You can't do it anymore, right? I mean, if the parents watch and think, hey, you're trying to abuse my kids and so forth. So they are codes and conduct of coaches when you, as you rightly said, when you're working with youth and when you're working with women and stuff like that.
Yeah, you know? So all these things, but we have
I see where you're going. Yeah, I see that. And once you have these kind of things in place, I mean, it's a good place to start, you know.
One other thing that we're saying is that anybody that's coming on your bench as a physio needs to do a basic first aid course.
That's right.
You need to understand the different type of bleeding, how to stop bleeding, how to stop a nose bleed, you know, things like that.
And the association must be willing for people, for the clubs to send somebody to these
right,
kind
so
of
you
training.
have to have that certification. In other words, you may not know have to go and get a medical person per se, but you need that, because the thing is, if you're playing in Premier Division, you have the EMS might be there. That is there for the last couple of years. But what about when you're playing Golden Grove, Old Road, Willie Key, you know, Freetown? You need, EMS is not going to be there. You need somebody that has some knowledge of injuries.
That's right.
Has some trained knowledge of injuries. And we say the first aid persons, you don't give somebody a kit that say they're first aid, but they must have basic first aid.
And I think we've been extremely lucky, you know.
Very lucky.
Very lucky that we've gone through a period without a lot of these things in place.
Yes.
You know, but I see the plan, and it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that heavily involved with football, played for this and played for that, and a national team. No, you have an accounting person, a person with accounting experience, right? So the treasurers for all the clubs come and tell you how you can manage your finances for the clubs. I see a plan. I see a plan. And that is what we really want to see. We want to see something there that will set us on the right path. You know,
and we pledge,
club structure.
We pledge to actually work with a community team. You have to work with the community. If there's a community group, work with the teams that are using the field, work with whosoever the MP is in the area, work with the government also, in collaboration with the Football Association executive. We are going to develop buildings in terms of change room, bathroom, and stands, and at least one ground, hopefully 2 or more, but you can't say too much because you're not okay with everything, you're not in there. But when, after 4 years, Emma, there will be a ground with proper facilities in terms of restroom and change room that we don't have we never have, except Kenneth and maybe Bethesda to an extent. But basically, it's Liberta. Thank Lord for Kenneth. You know, great man. A lot of man
And let me tell you something. It's based on The reason why that field is the way it is presently is because, I mean, people out there, the corporate citizen, the sponsors and stuff like that, potential sponsors, see that you are trying to do something.
Yes.
And so they assist, they're going to come on board because you're working towards something that would benefit the community. You know what I mean? But you can't just go out and just tell somebody you want to do this when you haven't started for yourself. Because the way some of these organizations function, right, is that if you come with the foundation, one or two may say, look, we'll bring up the walls, you know. And and then when the walls come up, you have to try and get the windows. And when you get the windows, say, oh, okay, let me put on the roof, you know. So you have to start to do something for yourself. And then other people can buy into it. And I'm sure they have plenty of corporate people within the community, you know, would want to see something happen. And if you go with a plan, I'm pretty sure that some of them will come on board.
What a simple thing as a calendar of events. When last the ABFA put anything out like a calendar of events, so you can guide the clubs in terms of what is coming up and the clubs can start preparing
for that.
Whether it's a youth program, boys, girls, it's a training, it's a coaches training, referees training, administrators training. When the thing is so haphazard, you might hear this week, you have already said now the thing is next week. There's not much preparation, you can't get time for from your job, you can't assemble a team, get them ready. Like the college combine. No club was training. When they say put it out to the club, they say put it out to the club today to come tomorrow. When they go on the way, they say should be out to all the club. That was a waste of time. If you're in COVID lockdown and nobody's training whatsoever for nothing, and then you expect a young player to go up there and perform good enough that he can make, you know, get a scholarship, is asking much. But even things like that, we're saying, Emma, what first division, second division, they just have them play in isolation for years, no attention. Why you can't have a man of the match? Man of each match. Team of the week or team of the month, and you make that presentation to those players at the Premier Division.
Things are not organized. It's not organized.
Simple thing.
Even simple things like, you know, when you walk in the ground, in the recreation ground, you don't have to ask anybody to score and who's playing. You have a scoreboard right there. So you see who is playing, you see the time and the score and the clock.
Yes.
Simple
And
things
the
like that.
scoreboard with the two team name and the clock and bam and the time. So you come in, you say, hey, let me just pass in the ARG and see where I go and see people in there. Then you can see Empire play, you know, SAP, and then you see the score and the time gone in the game, whether in first half or second half. You go in ARG and if you're not familiar with, like I haven't gone for years, I might have to ask, who play? What is score? First half gone? In this modern time, a basic scoreboard is not expensive. And I hear this game is the greatest in the Caribbean. The thing with it, I haven't really traveled, a lot of us haven't traveled, especially with the demise of Leon. So I guess we don't know how the game is going in the Caribbean.
Okay, elections coming up. How soon is it?
25th of April.
25th of April. You guys are ready and prepared?
Well, tell you with that, Emma, most of us have sent in, most of the clubs have sent in our nomination 3 weeks now. By this weekend that just gone, that's 3 full weeks. Haven't heard nothing from the General Secretary saying there's a nomination here with your name. You need to say in writing if you accept or decline, because that is the process. So I don't know how long it's taking them, because only when you say yea or nay, that nomination goes on to the ad hoc committee. But the nomination everybody's nomination has been in at least 3 weeks. Mrs. Barber quotes maybe even longer than that.
1 month.
But we are still waiting for that same ABFA to say, we have a nomination for you here with the club. Do you accept or decline? If you accept, you have to accept in writing to the General Secretary in 7 days.
To do that on the day. Election day. No. Tell me something, is it a fair playing field? I mean, it's 45 minutes each half?
Well, so far, I don't think the playing field is even. You know, I don't think it's fair.
Okay.
Because we're still looking information.
Okay.
From the FA.
All right, well, guys, look, I'm telling you, look, I can't thank you guys enough. We really appreciate you guys coming and talking sports. I think we had a wonderful time. We had a good time here. And I just simply want to say on behalf of our executive producer, who's Taddy Arundel, along with our technician here, Auden, and along with his trainees. I must mention you girls and gentlemen for sticking around with us to see exactly how things are functioning around here. And of course, our sponsors, ACB Caribbean, our platinum sponsor, Simply Smarter Banking, Blue Mountain Water, from Mega Distributors, Pine Hill Juices, from Hutchison Limited and Seeker Pharmacy for all your medical needs, Cecil Charles Group of Companies, Brands for Less, along with plumbing and electrical. We want to say, again, thank you very much to Ivan Ninja Luke and their pretty boy Edwards, and wish them all the very best in the upcoming general elections. And I hope to see the football move from where it is today to where it ought to be. We're saying goodbye for now until next week, Monday, when you can join us again for another exciting episode of